Morning, I don't have any comments other than I'm glad that we have a nice crowd here today. And remember, after our session today, we will meet with department heads and elected officials. And with that, we'll move to the consent agenda and a motion with regard to what's on the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the items on consent agenda.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Now is opportunity for anybody to address the commission for public comment. Is there any public comment today? Having heard none, then we'll move on to the business agenda. We'll start with Commissioner Pishney announcing the National County Government Proclamation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The month of April 2023 is considered National County Government Month, and the slogan this year is Counties Rise. And I would ask for consideration of approval of this proclamation, Mr. Chairman, and the proclamation goes as such. Whereas the nation's 3,069 counties serving more than 330 million Americans provide essential services to create healthy, safe, and vibrant communities. And whereas counties fulfill a vast range of responsibilities and deliver services that touch nearly every aspect of our residents' lives. And whereas Finney County, Kansas, and all counties take pride in our responsibility to protect and enhance the health, well-being, and safety of our residents in efficient and cost-effective ways. And whereas, under the leadership of National Association of Counties President Denise Winfrey, NACO, or National Association of Counties, is demonstrating how counties rise, demonstrating exemplary resiliency, inclusion, solvency, and empowerment. And whereas each year since 1991, the National Association of Counties has encouraged counties across the country to elevate awareness of county responsibilities, programs, and services. And whereas Finney County officials and staff members throughout the county will host and participate in an informational display at Stevens Park on Friday, April 28, 2023. Now, therefore, be it resolved that you, Mr. Chairman, do hereby proclaim April 2023 as National County Government Month and encourage all county officials, employees, schools, and residents to participate in county government celebration activities. And this will be signed by you as chairman of our commission.
Any objections from any commissioners? I don't need a motion. I just want to make sure that I have the consent of the commission to so sign. Hearing none, I'll be honored to sign that. Please put that in the record. We gotta have the fancy paper. Good. Next on our agenda this morning is Great Plains Development, the annual update and membership from Bob Wetmore and AJ Amaro. Good morning.
That pleases our chairman, by the way, Bob.
Morning. Good.
Good morning. My name is Bob Wetmore. I'm Executive Co-Director for Great Plains Development. Some of you may know my co-director, Faye Trench. She's not here today, but she sends her regards. And Great Plains, for those that may not know, or just to kind of bring you up to speed, Great Plains covers the 28 counties of southwest Kansas as your economic development district. We also help with loans in this district, and we also help with grants. What type of grants? You've heard of CDBG, community development block grants. We help with those, particularly in the smaller communities. We don't have a big opportunity for that here in Finney County unless they're targeted projects. But I'll give you an example. Holcomb, if Holcomb had something that we could target, there is a possibility that they might qualify for anything from sewer, water, streets, gutter, things like that. Know that this year, if I put my grant hat on for a moment, those programs have been limited to 4 different types. Daycare, chime in here, AJ. And by the way, I didn't introduce AJ Amaro. This is AJ. Daycare,
Parks and trails, community business development centers that help with job training and creation for helping establish more of that in the community from the high school level. Like whether it's vocational, it doesn't necessarily matter, but they just want to make sure that we're retaining community members in the community that move on to keep jobs here locally.
and one of the requirements for that is low to moderate income, so you can see why we have a hurdle that we have to jump over with that sometimes. If we do construction with those projects, it requires Davis-Bacon wage rates, it requires public bidding. There's a lot of hoops to jump through with that. For someone like Holcomb, we'd target that project and see if we could survey our way into that qualification. Know that there are brand new numbers coming out this year for low to moderate income. You don't know which communities qualify and which don't. Those new numbers will show that when they come out, probably toward the end of this year. Go to your Buff page on there. There's a summary of all the things that we do for you. Current loan applications, we had 10 loan leads, 4 of which were approved as actual loans over the last year. We even had an inquiry, speaking of Holcomb, from Holcomb. It did not develop into a loan. We continue to get loan leads. In fact, on Friday, I came over and we closed 2 loans on Friday here in Garden City. So we're constantly doing loans over here. Again, what types of loans do we do? Gap funding. Banks come first, so our job is to support the bank and be available if the bank needs us. So we're not trying to be a standalone. We're not trying to use your funds to compete with private industry. We're actually just trying to support it, trying to make those loans possible. You may remember during COVID, we took some of those revolving loan funds and we spun them out during COVID for emergency loans. Some of those have paid off. We only have one that's not current. We do keep working with that one on a regular basis. On almost a weekly basis, we actually work loan delinquencies. So know that we're constantly going back to them. We think we'll get that paid and up to date at some point. So that's really the only one that I need to bring to your attention. We talked about block grants. Currently, there are, I guess I don't have any other way to explain this. There are at least 57 different options in our 28 county region for loans. There's the list, and the best way to show you is just to pull that out. There are all the different grants and loans available in the area. Know that we don't try to confuse everyone with this list. What we try to do is work with the borrower, work with the banker, work with the community, and we try to figure out what fits. So what we're doing here is working with the project, regardless of whether it's a loan or a grant. We work with the project first, and then we have all these options available. You'll see all the different loans and grants that we've worked with. When you open up in your binder there, you'll see the yellow striped sheet. Those are all loans and grants that we've done over the years. I want to just draw your attention to the data portal. Don't forget, if you need information, current information about Finney County, you can go to this data portal that we as a statewide group of associations put together with USDA. This is current data that goes to the legislature. So this is all streaming live data that goes straight to Topeka. We have our membership list, and currently, by the way, we truly appreciate having Commissioner Dries as one of our board members, not only as a member for Great Plains that you've appointed, but one of our boards of directors. And if there's somebody up here that really understands what we do, it's him. He knows what we go through every month as we try to deal with all these different counties, cities, and different loan applicants. So we appreciate your membership every year. It's based on a volunteer basis. It's 29 cents per capita this year. Based on population, that is a voluntary invoice of $4,350. It keeps us on the road, keeps us out getting those loans closed like we did on Friday, and keeps us working with all the community requests that we have. Any thoughts, questions? By the way, we truly appreciate your support. You folks have been fantastic for years.
Commissioners, have any questions or comments?
I'd be interested to know whether Dwayne has any.
I'd like to just point out that if you, I think it's on this page, if you get down to the bottom of the counties, Finney County is, I think we rank number 3 on the total dollars that Bob and his Great Plains Development has invested in our county, second behind Barton and Ford County. So Finney County does use and has used this program in the past, and it's well supported, and I appreciate the opportunity to.
You have been very active, and I didn't tell you this because I'm from Ford County, but Ford County hasn't really been that high on the list in earlier years. They've risen up in the last few years. So you've always been up in the top 3 over the years, and that's because your banks are active and local government is active with us here. So it's easy. If for instance, a small government like Holcomb is in a meeting, it's easy to call us on the phone during a work session and say, what can we do? Or is there something we can do? Or we'll get a request like, hey, out on the west edge of town in the county, we've got some homes that need a water system, or down south of town, we've got a water system out there that we need some help with. There's always things like that that we can look at as ways to help. So thank you.
Thank you very much. One of the goals of the commission is to be a more active partner in economic development. That includes Great Plains. Dwayne, I would sure entertain a motion to be a voluntary member and to authorize me to sign our membership fee of $4,350 for 2023.
That's a very good way of supporting that motion. I so move.
Is there a second? Second. Thank you. Is there any other discussion about Great Plains Development and our annual membership fee? Having heard none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously, and I have signed and accepted the Finney County Commission contribution for 2023.
Oh, he's got fancy paper, though.
I've actually got a pen and paper if you need it. Do you need it?
I got my handy.
Okay.
Gabby's very efficient.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, sir. Next item on the agenda is our Fair Board new member appointment. Roxanne?
Yes, good morning, gentlemen, and I wanted to get your approval for, and I'm sorry, I know I put her name up there, her proper name, but Skeeter to the board. That's all we've called her as. She has been a fantastic supporter of the fair. Even before she thought about getting on the board, she has been a superintendent. She's been a sponsor. This lady eats and breathes the fair, so I think I'm very excited to ask for your blessing on appointing her to the board.
Questions from the commission?
Mr. Chairman, as an advisory member to that board, I've noticed that Anita's attended quite a few of the meetings, so I think it's a great selection. So I move that we approve Anita Johnson as a new Fair Board member.
I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded that Anita Skeeter Johnson be appointed to the Finney County Fair Board. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. I do, while I have your attention, want to let you know that we will be doing a huge kickoff concert for the fair. The tickets went on sale April 1st, and we will be hosting Casey Donahue on the 15th of July. So I'm sure we're going to sell on tickets, so you might want to go ahead and get them now. Go to our website, visit gck.com.
Sometimes my brain doesn't go fast enough. I have a calendar here, July 15.
July 15th. And the gates will open at 6 p.m. Tickets are $25 a piece, so you're not going to see that quality of talent for that price anywhere else.
It's going to be at the,
And the Finney County Fairgrounds.
okay, and who's coming?
Casey Donahue.
That tells me I don't know that.
It's red dirt. He's really cool, Jerry. You're going to love him.
I
All right.
look forward to having some additional entertainment in the community.
Mr. Chairman, while Roxanne's there, tell us again the dates of the fair. It's, that's the beginning week.
That's the kickoff weekend, and it runs through the 15th through the 24th, I believe.
So Gabby, I would ask that you add that to the meetings for the future, just to keep it on there as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Anything else
gentlemen.
for Roxanne? All right, thank you. Next on our agenda is the AFAC funds and Danielle Burke from the city. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having us over. The next two items are very similar. Both have to do with alcohol liquor funds. Those funds, in terms of how we're able to use those, is prescribed by state statute. And those monies are to be distributed equally amongst three different funds. So the item before you is to take a look at the applications that the city received for those funds, and there's a partial split with those funds, which is why we're bringing it before you all here this morning. So with the AFAC funds over the last couple years, we've split that process into two different paths. The first portion is managed by staff, and any organization that meets the requirements of the statute could receive up to $6,000 through that request process. There were a total of 8 agencies that requested funding, totaling $47,970. And after reviewing all of those applications, that's the recommendation that's before you here this morning, is to fully fund all of those requests. There was one small change to one of those requests after it was submitted, and that was from the Garden City Ministerial Alliance. They updated one of the things that they were going to purchase is an AA and an NA guidebook instead of a devotional and a recovery Bible. So they made that change to their application after it was submitted. The dollars in terms of those costs were about the same, so that worked out really well. The second portion, which is the next item on your agenda, captures requests that exceed that $6,000 threshold, and those are actually reviewed by the Live Well Finney County Board. Both of these recommendations have already gone before the City Commission. They have approved them as presented, so we wanted to come before you all and see if you would also approve those recommendations. So you do have 3 alternatives before you here this morning. One is to approve the recommendations as outlined and recommended by staff. The other is to alter those recommendations, or you all could decide not to approve those entirely. Staff recommends the first alternative, and the fiscal note related to this item is that the City of Garden City would expend 90% of those costs. The County Commission would expend 10% of the costs of the $47,970 for the AFAC fund. This is within the $50,000 budget that we had allocated to this. So with that, I would be happy to answer any questions you all may have.
Questions from the commission?
No question, I'll be ready to offer a motion when you're ready.
I'm ready. I didn't hear anybody.
Do we want 2 motions since you're doing this in 2 parts, or just one motion?
I would prefer to, but I would leave it up to you all if you have any strong.
For the first part of
Yes.
your request, then I'll offer a motion to approve the recommendation of the committee, alternative one.
And I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the 2023 AFAC first half distributions and authorizations. Is there any further comment? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, I'll briefly cover the second portion. We only had 2 applicants for this portion of the funding. We had Boys and Girls Club, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and Real Men, Real Leaders, both submitted requests under this kind of second half. Again, those were reviewed by the Live Well Finney County Board. All of the rest of the information is pretty much the same. So again, I'd be happy to answer any questions on the second round of funding.
Mr. Chairman, I'll offer a motion to approve the recommendation for alternative one.
Second?
Been moved and seconded to approve the use of the 2023 AFAC funds second half as itemized in alternative number 1 in our package. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay, next thing on the agenda is Finney County 2022-60 parcel plat, Jones and Mary. John?
Good morning. SMH Consultants, on behalf of Southwest Kansas Rentals LLC, is requesting to plat the Jones and Mary Addition Unit 1. The property is generally located at 3023 West Jones Avenue. Lot 1, Block 1 contains 2.1 acres and is zoned I-1, I-2 Light Medium Industrial District. The owner of the property would like to build a 120 by 50 warehouse building on the property. The plat was reviewed on February 3rd, 2023 and met requirements. The Planning Commission did recommend approval at the October 15th, 2022 meeting, and there are 2 alternatives. The governing body may approve the parcel plat, or the governing body may not approve the parcel plat. And staff recommends alternative 1, approve the parcel plat.
Questions? Is there a motion to approve this plat?
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the parcel plat as recommended by staff. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. John, next we have 2023-8, the Crane Edition. Please proceed.
Palmberg Land Surveying Services, on behalf of Stephen Crane, is requesting to plat the Crane Edition. The property is generally located at 8545 North Chamelka Road. Lot 1 contains 2.47 acres and Lot 2 contains 2.12 acres. The property is currently zoned RI, Rural Industrial District, and will be going through the rezone process. There is a house on Lot 2, and the applicant plans to build a house on Lot 1. The plat was submitted for review on February 14th and met requirements. The Planning Commission did recommend approval at the March 16th, 2023 meeting. There are 2 alternatives. The governing body may approve the parcel plat, or the governing body may not approve the parcel plat. And staff recommends alternative 1, approve the parcel plat.
John,
Discussion from the commissioners.
Okay, John, I have a question. You know, that's kind of a unique plot. Is
Yeah.
there plans down the future to clean that up so all these little strips aren't around?
If I may? Dwight
Pull up the
Palmer,
picture,
Palmer Land
please.
Surveying Services. That is a unique property, yes. Between surveyor error and previous owner trying to keep pieces from being connected together around, that is,
Worked.
it worked. And my whole thought was, is we're gonna do this, we need to have 2 acres minimum, that's state requirements. But the little corner piece that we're going around is less than an acre. So even if we were to include that in, I thought that was going to give us problems with Mr. Crane being able to get his property divided and get it platted so he could build his new home. Because we'd have two lots that were over 2 acres, and we'd have one that was just over an acre because of the existing condition that was created below. Anything else?
Any other questions for the surveyor or from John?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I thought that you made an additional comment with regard to that one strip down at the bottom when you were at the planning commission the other day. Am I incorrect? Did you make another comment in addition to what you've just said?
Well, basically what happened is originally, if you read the deed was to go to the south line. But when the surveyor did the survey in 1984, he messed up by like 30 feet. So I found the existing corners on the parent tract, and I also found the existing corners on that 1 acre, less than 1 acre piece. So that's where I was talking about earlier about when I said the surveyor error. It wasn't my error, but there was an error.
Previous survey.
Yep. But then that little gap on the back was put there intentionally to be able to keep for the tract that was cut out from able to either be able to attach to the tract behind on either one of those 2 tracts to the west.
Well, be that it as may, Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the plat 2022-60.
Any further questions from John? Been a motion made to approve the plat as submitted. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded that we approve the plat as submitted.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir. Any comment?
I believe the number's
Am I wrong one?
2023-8, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken.
I stand corrected.
Is that right, John?
Yeah, 2023-8.
Just so we get the right number in the motion.
All right, is that your motion?
Correct.
Is that your second, sir?
Yes.
All those in favor, is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's me. Motion carries.
Thank you.
For the record, my no vote is because I don't like parcels that have very limited access, and it seems to me that we are causing confusion in the future. We can be more clear in what we're doing. All right. Next item on the agenda. Alicia?
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners. A single-family residential development has been proposed within the corporate limits of Garden City, but within Sanitary Sewer District Number 3 that is operated and maintained by Finney County. There is a desire for the development to be served by Sanitary Sewer District Number 3, which necessitates an agreement for the transmission and treatment of wastewater between the city and the county. The county will provide for the transmission of wastewater, and the city will provide for the treatment. The county passed resolution number 10-2023 on March 20th of 2023 that provided the fee schedule related to the development. If approved by both governing bodies, the developer will begin making infrastructure improvements shortly thereafter. Your alternatives are the governing body may approve the local governmental services agreement between the City of Garden City and Finney County for transmission and treatment of wastewater at Sunset Terrace Estates Phase 1A. The governing body may not approve the local governmental services agreement between the City of Garden City and Finney County for transmission and treatment of wastewater at Sunset Terrace Estates Phase 1A. Or 3, the governing body may provide alternative direction. And staff would recommend alternative 1, that the governing body approve the local governmental services agreement.
We will also be taking up an agreement later. Is that correct, Ms. Swartz, on this very subject?
I believe the agreement is under this line item.
Yes.
Questions from the commission?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I didn't see the attached agreement when we got our packets the other day, and I didn't have time to contact anyone It came first from Jimmy to the county, and I didn't see any attachment in those emails to be able to review that agreement.
The agreement actually went out to everyone, it was probably Friday afternoon when that agreement went out. So it didn't get attached on the original because it was still, there was still some negotiation going back and forth between the city and the county during the week and finalized on Friday.
Yeah, unless, well, and Mr. Chairman, I don't think anything's changed from the preliminary draft except for a couple of modifications. Am I correct on that? So it's something we did see earlier, but I don't even show that I received it on Friday, so.
I forwarded it. It would come from,
Right,
Yeah, it was there.
okay, then I'm the only one that missed it then, so that's fine.
I do have it handy if you'd like to review it.
No, I understand that the fees and so forth did not change, yeah.
the fees that the commission set are what's in there. It was the collection and distribution really was the thing that was still being negotiated towards the end of the week.
In our previous discussions.
It went to
Commissioner-
junk mail, I'm sorry.
Our previous discussions, we had considered in this agreement, wastewater services agreement, that construction of a new manhole, but as I read the agreement, and I am led to be understood that we are not going to build a new manhole, but rather we're going to use the existing, and it has that capacity, and we have the engineering studies that demonstrate that we can use it.
That's correct.
And Mr. Chairman, just to clarify, it did go to my spam junk mail, so I don't know why, but that's why I didn't see it, so. I've got Jenny blocked, I guess, I don't know, but I got all your other emails last week, so.
Well, for the next few weeks, I recommend you unjunk her.
No, I got all their other emails yesterday.
It's funny how it randomly will do that
so
sometimes.
I don't know what happened, so I apologize for the confusion. It's in my inbox now, so apologize for the confusion.
Mr. Dries?
I'm just wondering if Mr. Logston is in charge of these sewer districts, if he has any comments on this that we're looking at?
I don't really have any comments or concerns. I think the process has been well worked out, and the fee schedule is good. Jerry, a minute ago, said that you didn't believe that there was a new manhole. There is a new manhole being established in county right-of-way, and then they're tapping into an existing one. But they are having to add one more manhole to on our right-of-way. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you.
All right, so everybody had a chance to review the wastewater services agreement and the proposal as outlined in our packet from Ms. Charles from Neighborhood and Development Services. Is there a motion to approve this wastewater services agreement?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve this wastewater agreement.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the wastewater services agreement be approved and that we get out of the ground and get going. Is there any further discussion, including any comments from Elisa?
No comments.
Not discussion, but I do have one quick question, Mr. Chairman.
Go.
When does this agreement come to an end? There's no way to implement the end of the thing. Is that important down the road?
The agreement will go forward indefinitely at this point in time because they're tying into the existing sewer district as far as that goes. There are provisions within the agreement to, if either party wants to end the agreement, there's a 6 months notice requirement. And things need to be in place prior to the end of the agreement in order to continue services so that we don't leave these residents within this subdivision without wastewater services, but it will continue on.
All right, thank you.
Any additional comments, questions, or concerns regarding the motion and second in this agreement as proposed?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Just to our council, and I'm scrolling through this as we speak. There's, toward the end of the agreement, there's a reference, and get to that page. It's number 31. And it references Northwest Development. I'm just wondering why that is in this particular agreement.
The intent in this one, part of the discussions with the back and forth on how the collection of the fees was going to be was that the old interlocal agreements that we had for both that Northwest Industrial Development and sewer districts number 1 and 3, which involve our agreement with the city to take care of the wastewater treatment. Basically, it's just our agreement that we want to go back and clean those old ones up so that the collection of fees reads the same way that we put it in this one. So it's really just referencing those, saying that we're going to go back and clean those old agreements up as well. It's just an intent for that.
And I would note, so all the commissioners are aware, that we retain the ability to set the sewer district rates for sewer district number 3 and the methodology for that amendment and governance from this board. All right. Any further discussion? We'll call the question then. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, next up is the fairground. Stephanie?
Good morning. So I'm here approaching you guys about approval to purchase new tables and chairs at the fairgrounds. These would cover the 4-H building, West Pavilion building, and grandstand meeting rooms. We're looking at purchasing 200 tables and 700 chairs, and we did receive 6 bids from 2 companies, 3 from each. So your alternatives are to choose one of the following: the Mesh 1 folding chairs and banquet tables from Mighty Light, the Flex 1 folding chairs and banquet tables from Mighty Light, the Swift Set folding chairs and banquet tables from Mighty Light, National Public Seating 600 Series heavy-duty folding chairs and banquet tables provided by Key Office, the Safeco 5000 Series heavy-duty folding chairs and banquet tables from Key Office, the Alera folding chairs and banquet tables from Key Office, or you can reject all the bids and direct us to send out for rebid. Our recommendation is to award the bid to purchase the Swift Set folding chairs and banquet tables from Mighty Light. Due to meeting all the specs, I did also include a spreadsheet so you guys could see the specs that were met by each bid. We are choosing that set as we've received feedback from guests stating the Swift Set chairs are a bit more comfortable than the Flex 1 chairs through Mighty Light. And we also have previously purchased those back in 2012, and they have been proven to withstand the amount of use that they go through at the fairgrounds with little damage or repairs needed. The cost is a little bit over what we had planned to spend on tables and chairs. However, we were able to purchase some other items that were lower cost than the budgeted amounts, so we do have the coverage in the appropriate accounts to cover that additional cost.
Thank you. Any questions from the commission?
Just a comment that in the past, I've helped set them up and take them down for different events, and the weight of the table is tough sometimes. I'm glad to see you're looking at more usable tables. Not that I'm not getting straight.
I have a budget question. Where is this coming from?
So 46,000 would come out of the fairgrounds equipment reserve. 45,000 would come from fairgrounds capital equipment that were earmarked for tables and chairs. And 98,3340 would come out of the fairgrounds capital equipment from other budgeted items that we were able to purchase for less than their budgeted amounts.
What will you do with the old chairs and tables? Auction them off or?
Most of them, we will hang on to some of them for outdoor use for different events and keep the newer ones designated for indoor use only.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we purchase the Swift Set folding chairs and banquet tables for $100,833.40, using the funds as outlined from equipment reserve, capital equipment, and some additional capital equipment funds.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that the expenditure be authorized from the stated budgeted accounts. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? That'd be me. I don't like spending money. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Are you up for Gennaro on the culvert bid? Is the next on our agenda?
Well, gentlemen, what I would like to do is, since the reorganization of Public Works, I never had the chance to bring Gennaro in here and formally introduce him to you guys. Gennaro is our new Road and Bridge Coordinator, so he is the one that is in charge, fully in charge of Road and Bridge now. So I just wanted to introduce you to him.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
The Board of County Commissioners is asked to consider and approve awarding the bid to Wellsborne Sales for the purchase of culvert pipe. The Public Works Department advertised for culvert bids on March 18, 2023. Bids were open at 10 a.m. on March 27, 2023 at the Public Works office. 2 bids were received from Wellsborne Sales for $11,470 and J&J Drainage Products for $20,179. The board may accept the bid from Wellsborne Sales. The board may accept the bid from J&J Drainage Products, or the board may reject all bids. Staff recommends alternative 1, the approval bid from Wellborne Sales. Are there any questions?
Commissioners?
Well, just to clarify, and I also noticed that that would come out of the Road and Bridge budget. Is
Yes,
that correct?
Commissioner, yes.
I just hope we have the need for culverts in the future.
Wishful
Specifying
planning,
rain, not
planning
rain,
ahead.
right? Commissioner Drees?
Few months ago, Curtis talked about a different type of culvert that he wanted to move to. Is this the new culvert, or is this the one we've been using in the past?
This is the one that we've been using in the past, and because of the size of it, it has to be the same size of culvert going in that road.
Good, thank you.
Dwayne asked my question, so
All right. I've got a question. Is this for inventory or is this for use in a specific project?
It's for, it's gonna be used for a specific project.
Where?
On 5 Mile Road, east of Kansas-Nebraska Road. We have a cross tube that has been collapsed due to rusted. And this runs the garden seeded ditch water. And I got some pictures to show you if you don't mind. That is the inside of the culvert. Right now, the road is currently closed due to this collapse of this culvert. And I crawl in, that's me taking them pictures, and it has collapsed about 7 inches from the middle of the culvert. So due to heavy traffic during harvest season, that's what we believe it caused the collapse of this culvert.
Need a motion, Mr. Chairman? I will do that. Move that we purchase it from Wellborn, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Is there a second to the motion?
I would second that we do so with the $11,470 coming from Road and Bridge budget.
Been moved and seconded to purchase the culvert, $11,470 out of the road and bridge budget. Any further comment? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right. Is Skylar here?
Clear back
Oh,
there.
oh, he's way back there. Good morning, Skylar. We have a ambulance purchase on the agenda.
We're in need of purchasing another ambulance. As outlined in the items there, we do utilize a rotation program where we try to replace an ambulance every year. We currently have 6 ambulances, 3 of which are used primarily in the first out, which gain the most mileage. We were unable, due to COVID, supply restrictions, all those good things that happened here in the last couple of years, we weren't able to procure an ambulance for 2023. But we are looking at utilizing Osage to get us an ambulance that will be delivered in mid to late '24. This is a demo unit, which means that they were building this one, or they had plans to build one anyway that they would use to take to shows and stuff to show it off, and then they sell it after that. Fortunately, we were able to get in on that process early, and they are able to design the ambulance to our specifications rather than we accept whatever a demo is. And so what we're looking at here is just for your approval to go ahead with the purchase of the ambulance. The current price of the ambulance is $254,000, which is where they're coming up for. It wasn't long ago that it was much less than that, but unfortunately, situations have changed throughout the years. So yes, the prices are going up. If we do delay the purchase on that, the price will just get higher. They are coming up with a price increase here pretty soon. So, my request is for approval for the purchase.
Questions?
Skylar, I know it's some in here somewhere. What, the power unit underneath this ambulance, is this a diesel?
Diesel.
We're going back to those, or?
So we kind of started running into some issues there with so we did, a lot of the gas ambulances that we did were on an E chassis, which is a van chassis. We have issues with, it's very, very difficult to get 4-wheel drive on those. It's like an aftermarket problem, and it's not recommended by Osage. And so 4-wheel drive is, for us, is one of those that we don't need it often, but when we need it, it's very important that we have it. And so that's one of our, and we did try a F-series, truck series chassis with a gas engine, and we've kind of ran into some issues we didn't anticipate with that, with power and those kinds of things. So it still functions for us, but we are feeling it is probably going back to diesel on these, at least on these bigger size trucks.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I want to make a comment about how things have changed. A few years ago, you put $75,000 in an envelope and kept that for next year. When we put another 75 with it, and 150,000 bought a new ambulance. So
Every 2 years.
yeah, that kind of shows inflation.
Yeah.
I see we're back to diesels. Are these better equipped to sit and idle and not
They've made some improvements there. One of the big issues we ran into was really the turbo. We had a lot of repairs on the turbos for them, which you kind of need just for the power that we need. Some of that is problematic with the way that we drive based off of what our job is. Driving hard and fast and then kind of stopping and sitting there. You sometimes don't give it the time to spool down. We have also coupled in with just our the way we handle the ambulances is we've really de-emphasized the use of speed for them. We've tried to get back to where we're not. Yes, we are an emergency group. We do need to go there. There are some risks with speeding, going past the speed limit and all those kinds of things that the risks far outweigh the benefits for that. So we also we've started to implement a decision-making process where not every single call warrants they warrant an emergent response, which means you call us, we stop what we're doing, and we go. Not every call warrants a lights and sirens response. Inside the city, lights and sirens save seconds, whereas if you smash your thumb with a hammer and need an ambulance, if I arrive 30 seconds earlier than before, there's no real benefit to your outcome. But driving lights and sirens increases our risk of an accident by over 200%.
And I note here, striker equipment not included. You gonna take
It's already
that out of it?
purchased. Yeah, we've already purchased that. It will be already put in there. It's with the power load and power cot, which is what we're standardizing all our ambulances to. That is getting put in there. It's not part of this actual purchase.
And this is to lift the heavy-duty patient.
Yep. Yeah, there's two factors. There's the power cot, which is the cot itself, which raises and lowers power, so it relieves any sort of physical strain on the provider. Additionally, the power load is what takes the cot from the ground. Well, I mean, it's extended, but while it's on the ground, and that physically loads it into the compartment, which also reduces a significant amount of strain on the technicians.
Thanks.
I guess I'm slightly confused. It comes with the box and all already for the 254, but you're talking the special equipment.
Yeah, right. This is the equipment specifically designed for the cot, the manipulation of the cot in and out of the ambulance. So the box that it is where all the compartments are, the electrical equipments that run the air conditioning, the lights, all of those things. It's all put in by that factory. It's bought.
Second question, is there trade-in on the old equipment, or is it gonna sell that outright, or what's the?
Yeah, usually we can trade it in. So you don't get much from them, $5,000 is usually kind of what you get from them. There is the option of putting it to auction, but you have no idea what you're gonna get out of that. So we can go from usually it's about $5,000 to $10,000 for a trade-in on it, depending on, but usually by the time we're trading in, we're already looking at.
Pretty severe depreciation.
Yeah, it's significant.
Mr. Chairman, I'd offer a motion
Which is?
to approve the purchase at $254,104 of this ambulance from, it's an Osage, correct?
Correct.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I would second that it be paid out of the EMS budget.
Been moved and seconded on this purchase. I have questions, or a discussion that I would like to make is that I pulled out the budget from last year, and it appears that we've made some increment reserves for the purchase, and then that's about $150,000. Now we're gonna have to throw another $100,000 in out of their capital budget. Madam Administrator, do we have the money in the budget to pay this expense?
Yes, we do, and we also have some that we have planned set aside for the ones that will be purchased in '25 as well.
Answers my question. Any other questions on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Use it for a while.
Anybody else want to sign this? I don't like spinning. My hand doesn't do this.
Oh, you're left-handed, go ahead and take care of that. I get what you're saying.
That's more than the chairs.
Yeah, there you go.
The chairs aren't going to take me to the hospital, sir.
Oh, okay.
I guess I'm supposed to sign both.
2 pages.
All right, the last thing on our business agenda is Idea Tech, and I know you're at the podium, but we're going to take a break, and we're going to reconvene at 9:40. Thank you, sir. There you go.
That's a
regular session back to order, and Idea Tech grant match approval. Doug, thank you for ingratiating us for a break. Would you give us the presentation and recommendation, please?
So the Idea Tech received a grant to install about 150 miles of fiber throughout Finney County. Finney County has promised to match that with $400,000, and this is, we're seeking a motion to use ARPA funds for that match, and instead of, well, those are the options. ARPA funds for the match or county general for the match. We're hoping to utilize remaining ARPA funds for the $400,000 that Finney County has pledged. Are there questions for any of this?
I take it they're getting them from the state ARPA funds too?
They're
7.9?
Yeah, it's millions of dollars that they're receiving from the state of Kansas. Whether it's, I would imagine, yes, it's state ARPA funds.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Doug, if a citizen should ask, where is this 150 miles worth of cable gonna go?
So there is a map that will be publicly available in the future. The map is not quite ready yet, but it will come very soon.
This sounds like Congress. Let's vote on it
Yeah,
and find out
so
what's in it.
what I can tell you is there is a lot of business and residential properties going north and south on 83, and then splintering off of 83 both directions that they're covering. The name of what they call this is the 83 Corridor Grant. So it's a large chunk of stuff up and down Highway 83.
All right, so that's 36 miles from county line.
Edge to edge, and they're going both directions off of that corridor.
So in theory, can you run this line down the corridor and then people from 2 miles away run over and hook into it?
There will be accommodations for other people, mostly businesses, but I suppose if a resident wanted to match something also, then I don't see that they would have any reason to stop them, yes.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, Idea Tech had a groundbreaking, or a ribbon cutting, not groundbreaking, ribbon cutting ceremony. Doug and I were there for that the other day. And there, some of the matching funds are coming from public entities like our county, but there's and I don't remember the name of the feedlot, but there's a feedlot that has put in some matching funds as a business for this as well. So one of the points they were making is there'll be feedlots and homes and so forth that will be there'll be better connectivity to those coming off of this corridor. Sorry. There'll be better connectivity coming off of this corridor to those businesses and to those homes in those rural areas. But I don't remember the name of that feed yard that put in some funds. I met one of the people from the feed yard at that ribbon cutting the other day. Sorry about that, Gabby. Oh, yeah, High Choice Feed Yard, yeah, correct. Thank you.
This is a project that's not received a whole lot of advertising for the whole world to know about it, so thank you.
And part of it too, and Doug can correct me if I'm wrong, there are steps that the Idea Tech has to go through for this grant to be approved and so forth, and they may be out ahead of that just a little bit, so they've been very cautious about what they've said and what the map looks like at this point.
Okay, thank you.
So Doug, counties north and south of us will also participate in this type of?
I believe there is a substantial run throughout Kansas, and it is along Highway 83, even outside of Finney County, yes.
My question is directed to administration and staff and my fellow commissioners. ARPA funds, I know where our reserve of that is. Did we allocate or budget any ARPA funds for capital expenditures, such as this request for ARPA funds for matching purposes?
There is approximately $1.5 million left that is unallocated in the ARPA funds, and that was for future projects. It does not specify what those projects would be. That's up to you all at this point to what those projects will be. The projects that are currently already approved were the sewer districts at this point, and then some that was spent for the sheriff's office for the nursing staff last year.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
to me, it's kind of a simple solution here. The ARPA funds are for some designated purposes, and for some, you cannot use them, where the general fund can be property tax relief or a number of other things. So my vote at this point would be to take the money out of the ARPA funding and leave the county general fund alone.
This is one of the approved allocations for the ARPA fund. So it is the rural broadband was one of the approved projects for ARPA at the federal level.
In your opinion, then, this request for $400,000 meets the budget requirements and the cash basis requirements of our auditors?
Yes.
I got reminded again the other day on from our auditors to make sure that we are making and asking those questions. So thank you. All right, any other questions for Doug with regard to this Idea Tech grant match approval? And then is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we provide the matching funds for this grant of $400,000 using ARPA funds.
Is there a second?
I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to seek $7.9 million worth of improvements along the I hope maybe one day.
Someday.
Interstate, US 83 corridor, according to the presentation and the discussion. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. On our agenda, we move to board governance. I don't have anything there. Does commissioners have anything? Then we will move into staff reports. And Mackenzie, you have the floor.
Good morning. Mackenzie Phillips, Development and Administrative Coordinator. So I don't have that many updates for you today. So Randall Estates, we are still waiting on the cost estimates from them for the RHID amendment. But we also did receive inquiry on possibly replatting Block 2. So this would be the block where the developer's house currently is, and there's an existing drive that comes from 83 that he wants to keep that driveway in there. So he is looking at possibly replatting that area. We haven't gotten confirmation yet. But and that's all I have for this morning, unless you have any questions for me.
Commissioners, any questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll move on to the administrator, Jenny.
I was made aware late last week that this week is also National Public Health Week, April 3rd through 9th. The governor is making a proclamation today, I believe, also. So I am requesting that the Board of County Commissioners make this proclamation for National Public Health Week, whereas each April National Public Health Week is celebrated to raise awareness about the importance of public health, and whereas Finney County strives to be a community that protects its residents and helps them thrive, whereas Finney County officials and staff members take pride in our responsibility to protect and enhance the well-being of our residents, promote access to affordable and quality health care, and limit barriers to health, whereas public health professionals help communities prevent, prepare for, mitigate, recover from the impact of a full range of health threats, including disease outbreaks such as the COVID-19 pandemic, natural disasters such as wildfire, flooding, and severe storms, other disasters including disasters caused by human activity and public health emergencies, whereas many of the leading causes of death for individuals in the United States result from chronic conditions which are among the most common, costly, preventable of all health challenges. Whereas significant differences in the health status of individuals and groups, including differences in prevalence of risk factors, infectious and chronic diseases, arise from the combination of structural, cultural, behavioral, environmental, and genetic factors and determinants. Whereas individuals and communities come together to protect, prioritize, and influence our own and other communities' health through changes in lifestyle, mutual support and engagement, promotive and preventative measures, early detection, timely treatments, attention to structural, social, and cultural determinants. Whereas public health professionals collaborate with partners outside of the health sector, including city planners, transportation officials, education officials, private sector businesses, recognizing that other sectors influence the health outcomes. Whereas efforts to adequately support public health and the prevention of disease can continue to transform a health system focused on treating illness into a health system focused on protecting health and promoting well-being. Whereas the theme for National Public Health Week 2023 is centering and celebrating cultures in health, and whereas Finney County Health Department shall host and participate in social media and real-time activities that foster cultural connections, engage with residents, education, and provide health services closer to the people throughout the week. Proclamation states, now therefore be it resolved that Chairman Schultz and Finney County Local Board of Health the Finney County Local Board of Health Chairman do hereby proclaim the week of April 3rd through 9th as National Public Health Week in Finney County and urge all county officials, employees, schools, and residences to participate in this observance.
Thank you. Absent hearing any concerns from other commissioners, I would be honored to sign that and make that proclamation. Is there any objections? Hearing none, that will be the proclamation and resolution of the board.
Thank you. And as far as the administration office, this last couple of weeks, we have, there was a pre-construction meeting for Sunset Terrace, a visitation with Triple Oak Wind Technologies, Generation Technologies, Idea Tech ribbon cutting, the board session with IMA to discuss where we've been and where we have options to look at for 2024 for our health insurance. The INA security tour for the courthouse. We've been doing lots of budget preparations. We start to meet this week. The fiscal committee will start to meet this week with the outside agencies and department heads in a couple of weeks. And we also have, I believe, a Hunden, what's that called? The Hunden assessment that kicks off this week as well. So been a busy.
That kick off here at the county, isn't it?
Correct.
Wednesday at 8 a.m.
That's correct.
And that's it for me.
All right, Commission, any questions of the administrator? All right. County Councilor Schartz, you have the floor.
Thank you. Been in attendance at several of those meetings that Jenny had referenced as far as that goes. We've had some new developments that there is an executive session on the agenda for today that we'll need to discuss those within executive session. Working on different agreements that have come through, such as the Sunset Terrace 1A agreement that the board voted on earlier, and some additional ones. I did receive a preliminary on the MOU for the Idea Tech agreement as far as that goes, probably about middle of last week, so start reviewing on that as well.
So the next thing we need to do is do an executive session. And how long do you think that we would need?
Probably 15 minutes.
All right. Is there a motion to go into executive session for consultation with the attorney with regard to attorney-client privileged information pursuant to statute.
Is there anyone other than board members in our council?
And the administrator?
And the administrator? Or just council and board members?
Administrator as well.
Okay. And I would so move that it include our administrator and for up to 15 minutes.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we go into executive session for 15 minutes as itemized and discussed. Is there, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We go into executive session, we'll reconvene at 10 after the hour.
Make us sick.
seconded to go back into regular session. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We're back in regular session, no action taken. We need a motion, Commissioner Drees, to opt into the second opioid class settlement and to receive settlement funds and to authorize County's Counsel Tim West of Kansas City to sign all signature documents to effect that settlement. Is that your motion?
That is my motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Thanks, Gabby. We'll do that again for the public. We have a second opioid class. Commissioner Drees made a motion to receive settlement funds from the second opioid class to authorize our attorney, Tim West of Kansas City, to be authorized signature and effect the settlement of those documents. That's your second, Commissioner Pishney?
Yes.
Been moved and seconded to effect the settlement of the opioid litigation as a class participant. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I think that's the extent of it. Back into regular session, and on our agenda is Commissioner reports. I'll start on the left with Commissioner Jones.
Which Commissioner Jones?
You, sir.
Okay, sorry about that. Well, I missed last meeting, so I'm going to report a couple activities from before that last meeting. Attended the Southwest Kansas Homeowners Association meeting and also the Southwest Kansas Builders Association meeting. Then after the last meeting, I believe, the local emergency planning committee meeting, and they had an exercise that involved the health department that was interesting, a tabletop exercise, and so that went well. And then attended a meeting with an acronym, ARISE, and it was actually some K-State professors, and they're dealing with kind of the global view of emergency management statewide and involving all kinds of private and governmental agencies. They will be back. This is a 5-year project, so they'll be back in our community working again. And then had a little conversation with Jenny over the Windsor Hotel, and I won't report on that other than to say that's an interesting building because it's on the National Historic Registry. And once a building is listed like that, then where Paul is, emergency management gets a whole handful of duties assigned before any renovation can take place. He's got folks to notify and so on, and so that's all well at hand. Jenny did a great job, and the city did a good job of helping with that aspect. So that's the end of my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Drees?
Fellow farmer and I, friend, we hosted a couple individuals from a gas company. They were out of Kansas City. They're a minor player in our region, subject to Black Hills as the dominant, but they wanted understanding of the irrigation industry and how their company might move some of these diesel wells back to natural gas. So we spent a morning with them. It's well received. I think we gained some information, they gained some information, so it's time well spent. I also attended a preliminary wind farm meeting that some of the fellow county employees and I attended. It was and requested before that they make a presentation to the county. We have no wind farms, as you know, in Finney County, and there's going to be some paperwork, zoning issues and stuff like that's going to be presented. So that was a kind of introductory meeting for that one. And then, like several of you fellows, I attended the chamber annual meeting.
Thank you. Commissioner Pishney, your report?
Several things that I attended and then a couple legislative things that I'll mention. But I too attended the chamber banquet, and I found the speaker to be very enlightening with regard to leadership and so forth. And I hope some of our staff that was there will integrate some of those thoughts into our county government. I attended a water conference in Dodge City recently, and it was about conservation and about trying to recharge the aquifer and so forth. And it was interesting, but not a lot of new information.
Did you go down the High Plains to the feed yard afterwards for that?
No, I didn't. I didn't do that part. I just went to the conference itself. I did attend the Planning Commission and Economic Development Board meetings this last month. It's already been mentioned that Hunden will be in town this Wednesday to do their one-day assessment on the ground of facilities, and I really want to say publicly I appreciate everything that Micah Bunch has done to coordinate that, and she and Roxanne are working to finalize the schedule for Wednesday, and as was said earlier, that will kick off with a meeting at 8 o'clock Wednesday morning here in Carol Brown Room. I did attend the IMA presentation, and our claims need to be addressed, and they've been high the last 2 years, and that's causing concern and pressure on our health care. I do plan to attend the April Kansas Association of Commissioners meeting in Hayes, and in conversation with the chairman, I also am planning to attend the annual conference for NACO in July, and I don't know if the chairman wants to take any action with regard to either of those things. The one thing I have added to the commissioners event in April is there's a pre-conference session with regard to succession planning, not just for boards, but for county management and so forth, and I'm going to sit in on that and see if there's anything I can bring back here. And then lastly, there's several legislative things going on, and these 4 days are, the legislators are in session, and they're going to be passing all kinds of things, some good, some not so good. But I think each of you have been receiving the alerts from KAC with regard to Senate Bill 252, which would exempt a lot of businesses from sales and property tax. And we've been asked to communicate our concerns about that bill, and it's probably heading to conference committee as we speak. I just, for your information, I did contact both Bill Clifford and Bob Lewis with regard to our concerns as a KAC, and Bill Clifford is going to carry the ball as far as visiting with some of the people on that conference committee. So that's my report at this point, Mr. Chairman.
I would entertain a motion to authorize Commissioner Finney to attend the overnight conference in Hayes and be our representative there, and as well as the session, is it in Austin, I believe, in the summer?
In July, yes, that's correct.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to authorize those expenses. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Commissioner Jones, your report, sir.
I too attended the ARISE meeting, and it stands for Adaptive Resilient Infrastructure Driven by Social Equity. So how they came up with all that, I have no idea. But it was interesting. It's a project driven by KU, K-State, and Wichita State. And their little map they handed out for us, I know you can't see this, but their little signage covered up the northwest part of Kansas. You know, they don't count. So, you know, they're only surveying Seward County, Finney County, and Ford County. And they went around the room and talked to all of us, and the number one issue everybody had was water. Guess what? And it was a little interesting. I hope we didn't unload on them too much, but we did kind of express our frustrations with eastern Kansas and Topeka especially. But they asked, so we told them.
Very good. My report is I attended the monthly meeting of Compass Behavioral Health. There's a lot of things that's going on with that. For purposes of general health in our community, mental health is a critical aspect of that. It's enlightening to me to be a part of the exciting things that are happening there. I did attend the Hunden Planning Meeting and encourage anyone to attend here April 5, this Wednesday at 8 a.m. I did attend the Chamber Awards banquet, and kudos to Liz Shepner, who received the Award of Merit. And unfortunately, I got all the really good news from IMA with regard to the work session as reported by Commissioner Finney. Seems that the county generally is looking at substantial increases in the cost of insurance, and we're going to address that in our goal planning here shortly. And I want to encourage everyone to be aware of what's going on in Topeka. It greatly affects us if the state starts to give tax breaks on things that we tax and collect here. And if they're so flush with cash, I guess my chairman's remark for the day is that I would hope our legislators see fit to find a way that the state of Kansas could give up some of its property mill levy and provide some relief to our local taxpayers and property owners. That's my political statement of the day. Is there anything else? I will announce that we're having work session meeting immediately after. We will convene for regular session on April 17th. And on Monday, May 1st, Commissioner Larry Jones will be chairing the meeting as I will be absent. It's time to go fishing. So, I think it's somewhere. The voters decided by one vote that I should be here. Is there a motion to adjourn? It's been moved. Is there a second to adjourn?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.